Good evening, Laura Donnelly here with day 227. 227 days of strange and interesting times. So, I am going to talk today a little bit about the kind of ongoing process of managing our minds, managing our emotions, and managing our bodies. Starting with the mind is the first place. And the mind is like a garden. And left untended, it will be overgrown with weeds. And because the ground is fertile, when the weed seeds land in there, they have lots and lots of nourishment to support them in growing. So that's one of the reasons you have to weed your garden frequently. And I would suggest that also weeding out thoughts that aren't helpful, that aren't beneficial, is a process much like actual weeding in your real garden. And it takes some time, and it takes some observation, especially in the garden when the little sprouts are new. It's really easy to mistake a weed sprout for a plant sprout, and you really don't want to pull out the good plants, the edible plants that you planted in your garden, or the flowers that you planted in your garden. So every once in a while, when it's my job to do the weeding, I need to let things get a little bigger. I need to watch them and see what's happening. See how the plant develops. Because a lot of times with our thoughts, they start out on a good track. They're not they're not a thought that's going to become kind of an obsession with us, or a thought that's going to have tentacles that go out and grab hold of other things and suck them in and turn it into a knot. You can't always tell that at the very beginning. Not of your plant, and not of your, unless it's a greenbrier. And trust me, that greenbrier is evil, and you don't want it anywhere in your garden or your mind. It has thorns on its roots, and it has thorns everywhere on its stem. And in order to pull it out, you have to get pliers, because even if you wear leather gloves, that greenbrier will poke you through the gloves. It's an intense plant. And we have thoughts that are exactly that intense. And the greenbrier, this is interesting. The greenbrier spreads from the root, and it makes a little berry thing, and the birds eat it and poop it all over your yard. And so you can have greenbrier coming up under your pear tree, which I had last summer. And I go to pull it out. The greenbrier is only this big, right? The root was this long. That thing wanted to grow. And this is what we need to look at in our thoughts. Which thoughts do we have that are like that have a huge root system that's sucking a lot of nutrients and producing some unhealthy ideas for us? And from those unhealthy ideas comes unhealthy action, because our thoughts become our actions and they direct our actions. So this is why I'm saying, on your ease-filled journey as you're going around, ease isn't like about relaxation and kicking back and taking the easiest route from here to there. Ease simply means that you have discovered the exact right amount of tension. Do you remember a teeter-totter when you were a kid? It went up and down and everything. But if you teeter-tottered with somebody close to your size and weight, you could very easily just balance the teeter-totter. And if some bigger kid came and jumped on one side, that side was heavier. That side had more tension, more mass, more weight. And the lighter kid got sent up into the sky. But if you were teeter-tottering with a really heavy kid, if that kid sat closer to the middle, to the fulcrum point, and the lighter kid sat further on the end, then you could create a balance with the different sizes and the different weights. So ease is about that kind of balance. And it's about a moving balance, a dynamic balance. You never are, as a human, fixed and frozen. That's not human. We breathe in, we breathe out. We're moving all the time. Even if it's just a tiny bit of movement, we're moving. And so sometimes I think we get the idea that, well, when I get this fixed, everything will be right. Everything will be right for a moment. And then you got another moment, and you have to deal with the next moment, and the next moment, and the next moment. And what is required to balance in each moment. And that requires a flexible and fertile mind. It requires a mind that is responsive and not reactive. Reaction is like A, B. And then the mind says, this thing that was D, E, or F, it was like A. So the brain says A, B. So you might have C, B. You might have E, B. This is not the right reaction. Well, it is a perfect reaction. It's a habitual reaction to a stimulus that the brain identifies as one kind of thing. So this is why I'm often encouraging people to look at something, look at it from different angles. Is it really an A, or is it a CA or a GA? It's got some A components, but is it really that thing that we identified as A, which required response B? Because when we categorize everything with its appropriate reaction, then we are reacting to this, reacting to that, reacting to the other thing, reacting, like a pinball in the middle of a game, bouncing off all of those different things. Hits this thing and it reacts, hits that thing and it reacts. To have freedom of choice, freedom of movement, freedom of interaction with other people, we have to give ourselves the opportunity to respond instead of react. And the way we do that is by noticing when we start to gather up all that energy for a reaction, because a reaction is usually pretty powerful. Whether it's a reaction to, duck and cover, which is a good reaction in the, if you're in the middle of a hailstorm, ducking and covering, saving your head is a smart thing to do. But if you go out your front door and the crabapple tree is just raining down flower petals, ducking and covering is an overreaction, not necessary. You can actually stand under that crabapple tree and just let the petals rain down on you, and it's a beautiful feeling. So, weeding our garden is important, and then watering the ideas and the thoughts, nourishing those things that we want to grow. It's one of the reasons I like a gratitude practice. That is a way of watering the thoughts that increase gratitude in my life, and that also sharing gratitude. When you share gratitude, it grows. It expands, it goes to the next person. They think of something they're grateful for, and it just ripples out into the world. And it's a much better ripple than the grumpy ripple that you can create. Say if you were having a moment of road rage and you put out the angry road and just honk your horn and that ripples out also. So it's not that we won't ever do that, but if we can give ourselves the attention, the self-care to look at the thoughts in our brain, in our mind, and to see the ones that allow us to feel calm and at ease in ourselves, so we can be that way with the people we love. And we choose to weed out the extra thoughts, the ones that say, I don't have enough time, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, how do I figure this out, I don't want to do that. It's not that you don't have those thoughts, it's just that you don't water them, right? You have one of those, and then you think to yourself, I have to do some marketing coming up. And I was giving myself some grief. And then I said to myself, how easily can I do this? And suddenly my whole self changes. Instead of I wish I was better at this, I'm not so great at this, but how easily can I do this? And that's a question. It's an open-ended question. And I'm so grateful that I thought of it. I can recommend that to lots of people, which I do, but then I have to remember to do it myself. So, weeding and watering our brains, our minds, the thoughts in our minds, treating our mind like a beautiful garden that is fertile and rich and full of nutrients, ready to grow whatever we need in our lives. So if you thought that was kind of interesting, you could drop some comments in there. If you would like a little bit more self-care, I put a link in for the Easy Peasy Self-Care Challenge, which is going to start December 7th. And you could enroll in that. It's free and it lasts 7 days and it's super simple and super fun. And you can do the little self-care activities in under 2 minutes a day, so that you realize, just like tending your mind garden, that you can tend your whole self gently and kindly each day. My friend Imogen and I put this in for between Thanksgiving and Christmas in the US holiday season, because this has a tendency to be a kind of ramped up extra stuff to do season. And we work also with caregivers, she and I. And so on top of caregiving, the holiday season can be an extra stressor. And then we have COVID. So self-care seemed like a great thing. So it will run for 7 days. And everybody is welcome to join, because everybody is caring for somebody that they love. And if it's your pet, that pet is a loved one. And if it's yourself, how wonderful that you're caring for yourself and taking care of yourself. And that way we have more to give to other people, more to share, and we're able to share it more authentically. So let's see, what else was I going to say? Well, how to find these thoughts. In the Healing Path, Molly McCallum talked about meditation. And that's in the Healing Path. If you're not there, put a thing in the comments that says Healing Path, and I'll get you in the group. Coming up in December, Molly's going to come back and we're going to talk again about meditation. And my friend Nigel Olson is going to come and we're going to talk about meditation. There's a breathing conversation, a conversation about breathing in there, which is a different type of centering and calming the mind. All of these activities give you the opportunity to discover the thoughts that are in your mind all the time. Somebody else told me you have 10,000 thoughts a day, that they just arise spontaneously. It's just like a garden that had a bunch of seeds just sprinkled in it. We don't know what kind of seeds. And the sprouts come up. And so then it's the seeds we wish to keep and the seeds that aren't that useful to us. And when you pull those little sprouts out, something eats them. The birds eat them. The bunnies eat them. They're not wasted. They just aren't what I need in my garden or you need in your garden. And so we move them on to be used somewhere else by someone else in a way that's more healthy. So that was day 227 of strange and interesting times. I will see you tomorrow with day 228. And then I think I'm going to take a little pause after day 230. So, but I'll give you something else fun to do. Take good care, be kind, and nurture your gardens. See you tomorrow.